How are you guys? My name is Ricardo Aguilar. I'm based out of Bakersfield, California. A pleasure and honor to be speaking to you guys today. I want to thank all the organizations that got together and invited me to be on this virtual gala as you guys are having, virtual conference you guys are going to be having as a fellow Republican, conservative, Latino immigrant. It's always a privilege and honor to be able to speak to the communities like yours, like ours, that understand what we're trying to do as a country, as a state, as a community, to be able to create awareness for all the people around us, to be able to create this sense of unity in our country right now when we're so divided, to get people to understand what really benefits them and not what benefits politicians, and to make people understand that we live in the greatest country in the world. I think a lot of people are forgetting that we live in the greatest country in the world. I recently was reading a poll that said that only 47% of people right now are proud to be American. So they did a poll. And imagine this, only 47% of people in America are proud to be American versus in the 1990s. In the 1990s, that number was 78% of people were proud to be American. We're living in a time right now where we're being divided by the media, by politicians. We're being divided so much by not only the people around us that want to control us, but at the same time, we're being divided within religion, race, sexism, Christianity, trying to separate us from Muslims, from Hindus, from Catholics. We live in a time right now where it's so hectic and it's so damaging to the future youth of our people, future youth of our country, future leaders of our country. So let me tell you guys a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Ricardo Aguilar. Originally from Michoacan, Mexico, down south and deep in Mexico. I live in one of the most war-torn states in Mexico. Very blessed to have come to this country, be able to now run a successful multi-million-dollar a year business. I'm in the insurance industry. I do annuities, retirement planning, financial consulting. I help businesses start from the ground up. I've helped multiple companies become multi-million-dollar companies, but it didn't start that way. I come from a family that parents got divorced when I was 6 years old. I was born in 1988. They got separated roughly or divorced roughly in 1994. My dad's been in the picture. My dad is not a deadbeat. Did very well with us as much as he could, but obviously we went through some financial hardships back with the market not doing too good. Ended up growing up in East Bakersfield, joined the neighborhood. If I take off my shirt, I'm completely tattooed, which I'm not going to do in the video for the sake of making sure that we keep everything G-rated, but I'm completely tattooed from my neck down. Grew up in the neighborhood, dropped out of school my junior year, did not go to college, had no intention of going to college, got in all sorts of trouble. By the time I was 19, 20 years old, I ended up in the penitentiary doing time, and my life was going in a direction. Not my parents' fault. My parents are incredible, God-fearing people. They installed good morals, values, and principles in me. But yet the environment that I was in, the community that I was a part of, being that I grew up in one of the most violent barrios in the United States, which is East Bakersfield, which, by the way, some of you guys may or not know, Bakersfield is ranked one of the top most dangerous cities in the country. And being raised in that environment obviously led me to make some bad decisions. It led me to be hanging around with bad people. But nonetheless, good people came around my life. There was one in particular. His name is Darren Criswell, which worked in Era Energy. I got into the oil fields after I got out. I did my time, got out, went into the oil fields. I started becoming aware of what it is to be a patriot, to love your country and all the opportunities given to you here. He started talking to kind of planting the seed. Never thought, this kid is Mexican. He's a immigrant. He's from East Bakersfield. He's not going to understand it. He's not going to get it. He's not going to listen. And I want you guys all to understand how important that is, because Darren planted that seed inside of me. This was when President Trump was running for office back in 2015. And Darren says, who do you like? Do you like Hillary? Do you like Trump? I said, I don't really think about that too much. I haven't really put too much thought in it. He's like, you should, because it's your future. And I said, okay. And I said, man, I don't really like Trump. Like, I like that he's a billionaire. It's a good story, but I think he just wants to be I just think he wants more power because he has money. He comes from a powerful family. I think that's all he wants. Started introducing me little by little. He didn't overwhelm me in a conversation. It was little by little, planting the seed of what it was to be a Republican, what it was to be a conservative, and started to teach me a little bit about how it worked and the policies and the taxes and how we were going to be affected. And it made a big difference in my life. And I tell you that to tell you this. The Hispanic community is naturally conservative. We're naturally entrepreneurs. In Mexico, there is no welfare system. Okay, there is no financial aid. There is no Medi-Cal. If you don't work, you don't eat. Real hustle. That's where we come from. So whenever you see the Hispanic community, don't think that automatically they're already going to be Democrat, which a lot of them are. I'm not going to say they're not, but don't give up on them. Go in and teach them about what you know. Preach. It was a white guy that taught me what I know to this day. Obviously, I do my own homework now. I've been able to interview people, capitalists like Pitbull. As you can see right here behind me, Magic Johnson, our CEO, Patrick Bet-David, which is very well-known capitalist, and Kevin Hart. I've met President Trump. I've met President George Bush, prior presidents. I've been able to hang out with celebrities, talk to celebrities, and a lot of them believe in what we believe, but they're silent. So if they are worried about being canceled, people like you and me, everyday people, are not worried about being canceled. We don't care about that because we understand that our country comes first. But let me go back to my point. I started planting the seed in me. And then I started to see things for what they really were. I started to realize the Democrat Party was dividing us on purpose. How is it that half of the nation is voting for the party of slave owners? How is it that half of the country is voting for half of the country is voting for a party that supported the KKK, that supported Jim Crow, that supported that they created the Great Society Act, which literally replaced fathers with the government in the black community? Malcolm X warned us back in the 1950s and 60s that the white liberal was a deceiving type. I didn't know any of this. Nobody taught me this until somebody planted a seed, and I wanted to know more. And I wanted to understand how they were playing games with us and how they were, because now it's not only the black community, it's the brown community as well. Open borders, letting everybody come in, making voter ID laws racist, saying it's racist. It's not racist. You know what happens? If you get rid of the IDs and you let illegal immigrants in, that's a whole new voting bloc. Since Biden has taken office, 1.1 million people have entered this country illegally. That's a whole new voting bloc. Think about how much that can swing certain states. They're sending them to red states. You guys think it's a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence they're sending them to red states. It is not a coincidence. That's what's happening around CRT, critical race theory, teaching our kids that black people are oppressed because white people oppress them. That's racism at its core. That's what we're dealing with the school system right now. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing that if your kid is brown or black, he's automatically told that he's oppressed, therefore killing his hopes, dreams of ever becoming anybody. And if your kid happens to be white, that he's the oppressor and that we owe something to somebody that is no longer alive. Your kids are being taught to be separated. They're indoctrinating our children. So what we're doing right here as a community is not something small, and we must not give in, and we must not give up, and we must be persistent, because if we don't, this full communist, socialist agenda that the left has, before we know it, will creep up on us like it creeped up on every other country. Communism and socialism and oppression is not something that happens from one day to the next. It starts with propaganda. Then it starts with obedience. And eventually you give up your rights for safety. And that's the direction this country is going in right now. But nonetheless, I have the hope. And I know that with people like you, people like myself that are willing to go out there and speak upon these issues, that we're going to be able to turn this thing around. That we go to our school boards and do not allow our teachers to teach kids about CRT. Do not allow these teachers to indoctrinate our children. That we run for office as Senate, Assembly, Congress, House of Representatives, mayors, governors. That's the only way we're going to be able to take back our country. Because nonetheless, we do live in the greatest country in the world. And I'll leave you with this. My dad come to this country 1978. By the time I was born, 10 years later, my dad had no papers and owned 5 businesses in this country. 5 businesses with no papers back in the 80s. And you know what my father taught me? He said, son, we live in the greatest country in the world. This is the greatest country in the world. And any dream that you want to accomplish, you could accomplish here. We didn't leave Mexico for no reason. Love this country, protect this country, die for this country if need be. But never, ever allow anybody to tell you that you can't do something, and stand up against anybody that tells you otherwise. So, that being said, I appreciate the time that I was given to speak to you guys. I hope that you don't give up on the Hispanic community. I hope that you understand that there's a lot to fight for. I hope that you understand that we will come around like I came around. I hope that you don't see that tattooed guy walking on the street like I am and think that he's not going to know anything about politics, or that he can't be flipped, or that he can't be taught something new. Don't be intimidated by any of it. Take power. Take power and say, you know what? I'm going to go talk to that person that nobody thinks will even make a difference. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope that you have an incredible rest of your event. And don't forget, God, family, country, business. That's what this country is about. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.